Hi, hello, welcome to this video. It originally was going to be a mid-year book tag, or whatever. I was uninspired. I wrote down the answers to the questions and I was like, I just don't want to do this, but I do want to document like halfway through the year the different media I've consumed. So then I was like, oh my gosh, why don't I give you some book stats? Why don't I then give you reviews of the movies that I've watched new to me, the TV series new to me, the concerts that I've been to, and then I'm not going to be reviewing the booktubers, but I might tell you the new YouTubers that I've subscribed to since the start of the year. And yeah, and then we'll take the mid-year book tag questions and change them a little bit so that they can include how I feel about for a book, TV series, and movies. I will warn that I'm not a big TV girl. I never really have been. Actually, that's a lie. I was a big TV girl in 2012, but not so much anymore. I also don't have a lot of streaming services. I strictly have YouTube. It's really going to be predominantly books and movies, but I thought I would start there. So I have my handy dandy notebook along with my handy dandy Hobonichi. And so let's start off with my bookish statistics that I've gotten from Storygraph. I've read 34 books this year. That's roughly 12,424 pages, which turns out to be about 349 hours. Isn't that banana beans? Honestly, it's probably a little bit more because I either round down or round up. So roughly 350. 9% of those books were nonfiction. 91% of those were fiction. On average, right now, in the moment, my star average is 3.71. I've given 3 books 5 stars. I've given 8 books 4 stars or above. I've given 17 books a 3-star or above. I've given 3 books 2-star or above. And then I've given 1 singular book no review because it was a nonfiction and I didn't know how to rate it. So those are my bookish stats. Moving on to movies. I've watched 11.5 movies this year. The half is because I only watched half of No Fault London part 2 of the trilogy. Here are the movies that I've seen so far. Dracula, A Love Story. I give that 3.5 out of 5. It was alright. I don't know much about Dracula, so then I watched it and I said, oh, okay. Then I watched Pillion, and I was excited for this one because I thought, oh, a queer movie, this could be fun. I was disappointed. I gave it 3 out of 5 because it wasn't bad, but it just wasn't good either. Then I watched Project Hail Mary, unpopular opinion, 2 out of 5 because I just think it's really disappointing. I now realize that the movie is missing a lot of context to what actually happens in the end because the way the movie is portrayed, it makes it seem that he leaves Earth to save his rock friend, his little pet of sorts. And I didn't like that. And it made me uninterested to read the book, and I understand that that's not exactly his actual choice in the actual situation and context in the book. But at last, I was bummed out. Then I watched Forbidden Fruits, and that was fun. That was fun. I gave it 3.5 out of 5. I didn't realize it was going to be a horror, so I was shocked at the end, but I did have a good time. Then I watched, my cousin wanted to watch The Street Detectives, and I thought, why not? I nearly fell asleep in the middle of this movie. I gave it a 3 here in my notebook, but I think I should have given it lower because I had to Google the plot. I was halfway through and I was like, can this movie end? It's moving so slowly and it's so boring. But alas, I did that. I watched I Love Boosters. That was banana beans. I have never seen a Boots Riley movie before. I didn't know what it was a good time. I'd go back and watch it. I heard rumor on the street people were leaving in the middle of it. That's banana beans. I gave that one a 4 out of 5. I had a good time. I watched The Devil Wears Prada 2, and I gave that a 4 for the nostalgia and because honestly, I think they did a really good job as a sequel. Was it a fabulous movie like the first one? No, but I do appreciate the new storyline, and I wish the side characters had more personality. That was probably what was the biggest con. I was like, why didn't the side characters play more of a part in the story a little bit more, you know? But I had a good time. Then I watched Obsession, and I gave this 3.5. 3. I feel like, yeah, I'll give it 3.5 because it was not scary. And I think that he could have been. I would have loved this more if he would have had to live with the consequences of his actions, like he does for a second. And then, but I want it more. Like I always knew that he was gonna be fine. Like I knew Nikki was never going to actually hurt him. I can't believe people are having a hard time seeing like who the actual villain is in that movie. And I think if the director had been a woman, this would have hit so much harder. And I wanted more from it. We watched Remarkable Bright Creatures, sobbed, you know, based off the book. I watched it with my sister, and it was a solid 3.5. Tugged on the heartstrings a little bit. Very cheesy because it is, you know, Netflix. So it probably could have been better, but I wasn't mad at it. I watched Disclosure Day. Now that's a piece of shit film right there. Because what do you mean? What do you mean? I gave it a 3. I think I need to bump it down to a 2. Because what was that? There were no stakes. There was no tension. You're going to tell me that the bad guy just goes, whoa, you got me. Go ahead, let the world know about the aliens. What? And then how stereotypical that girl gets feelings, boy gets science. How unoriginal. Eye roll. I then watched half of No Fault London. Didn't finish it. I'm sure I would have enjoyed it. I got it basically to the part where he's like, you're mine. Watch that whole scenario and then kind of cut the lights. I said, all right, we're done. And then the latest movie I watched is Pressure. It's just a solid World War II movie. This is about the meteorologists that postponed D-Day to the next day due to the like storms or whatever. I have to say I watched that movie and the portrayal of Americans. I was like, oh, the American is so obnoxious. And I was like, is that how we are? Which is unfortunate, which is, you know, probably a bit true. Because also I was like, you can see it's the charisma. Americans love charisma. They're fooled and easily by charisma in this culture. Just, you know, that's who we value. People who have riz. So those are the movies I watched. So we're at 11.5 movies so far. The 3.5 TV series that I've seen are, I watched His and Hers at the beginning of the year with my sister. It wasn't bad. I was interested in it, so I give it a 3 out of 5. I enjoyed my time. I guessed who it was, but I think it's just because I was like, interesting how we're not paying any attention to over here. And I was like, oh no, I've become too literate. Too literate! I understand the structure of things too much now. It's ruining it all. I have seen the first season of Scandal. I am like a third of the way into season 2. I gave the first season. I didn't realize it was only 7 episodes. I gave it a 4 out of 5. And I was like, oh, the golden age of TV. Banana beans. Oh, I watched the Off-Campus series and I had a good time. I have never gone back to rewatch it. I watched it the one time. I did stay up till 2 a.m. because the cliffhangers on every single episode, they got me. They got me, folks. It's a bit cheesy and it's a bit cringe. But the way they end each episode, I was like, oh, and next. So much so that I like got halfway through it. We had to go to IKEA with my roommate. We came back. I stayed up till 2 a.m. to finish the other half of the series. So I'm looking forward to season 2. Those are the TV series that I have watched. I guess also too, you can say a little like 0.25 added on top of that is I have seen 1 full episode of Summer House season 10. And then I've watched all 3 parts of the reunion and the aftermath. So we'll ding that onto like TV series that are new to me that I've started watching. Summer House. Next, I've subscribed to 10 new YouTubers, and will I list them? I don't know. I guess future me will let me know if you get a slide with all 10 YouTubers. I have found myself a little bit more interested in fashion. I think there's a couple people who talk about fashion, a couple more commentary channels of sorts, a couple more daily lifestyle, like smaller lifestyle creators, maybe some, I think some of them read books on the side, but they are not inherently bookish creators. So yeah, we'll see if I put them there. Then I went to 3 concerts this year so far. The first one was Conan Gray's Wishbone tour. It was so fun. The set was so cute. If he's still touring and you have a ticket, I hope you enjoy the show because it's so good. Or if you're thinking about getting a ticket, you should. Our tickets were $60 and it was a grand old time. I loved it. Then randomly, I saw that Hawthorne Heights was doing their 20-year tour for If Only You Were Lonely. And those were also $60. So I got myself a $60 ticket to be in the mezzanine. How fun. I watched that. House of Blues. By the way, first time I'd ever been there. Pretty cool. Conan Gray was at Toyota Center. And then I almost went to the Academy Is because the album that I listened to on repeat, they were touring for their 20-year. Also, the like 2 or 3 weekends later. But it was like to stand on the floor for like $90. And I was like, well, you know, I do love the Academy Is. But $90 to stand at the back of House of Blues? I don't know. Almost went there, but I didn't. And then, I'm counting this as a concert, but I saw the opening night of Noah Kahan's The Great Divide Tour because someone lovingly streamed it and it is now like saved on their YouTube. So they streamed the whole thing. So I got to, in real time, witness the opening night. And it was so good. And although I experienced that from the comfort of my room, I'm still going to count it because I then was up and dancing and screaming and I enjoy listening to it. It's just so good. And I'm so sad I don't have a ticket to his concert. It's truly a bummer, but I might go up just to go get the patch because I thought about asking my sister, but I was like, that feels like a lot to ask her to like wait in line and get my t-shirt because the merch too, I need Even Anxious Pups. I need the little pup and the moon. Even Anxious Pups need the moon. I love it. The album's been on repeat nonstop. What's next on the docket? Oh, coffee shops. So I'm doing back the handy dandy notebook. All right, I've been to 9 coffee shops this year that span Dallas, Austin, and Houston. So I'm just going to go in the order of which I have visited them. So they're going to be a little all over the place. I went to Slow and Steady in Dallas. 10 out of 10. It's a little house. They have a seasonal menu. During the winter, I had the Maria, which is based on like the Mexican brand Maria's cookies. I don't know exactly, but it was delicious. I stay thinking about this latte all the time. They are a bit slower when it comes to making the coffee. The inside is cute. It's a like refurbished house. For it being such a little house, there is a lot of space for you to sit and work if you wanted to. But it's very popular at 10 out of 10. Then I went to the Coffee Garden in Houston and I had gotten a pistachio cream iced latte with oat milk. I gave that an 8 out of 10. It was cute. I liked the plants. The service was all right. There was a variety of places to sit both indoor and outdoor, and the outdoor space is covered. Parking though, trash. Same with Slow and Steady. They have 2-3 parking spots and then you've got to like figure out street and house parking. So there's that. Then we went to Jane and the Lion Bakehouse. I gave, I think my latte like a 7. It was just a basic vanilla oat with iced. It was $10. $10 for a regular iced vanilla oat latte. $10. Not a good time. Jane and the Lion is in the Heights as well as the Coffee Garden. And they did have a pretzel kolache, though I gave that a 10 out of 10. It was delicious. And the parking, it's in a parking, like a shopping center, so there is okay parking. Can't get in the parking lot. I think you have to park in the streets or like inside the neighborhoods and then walk across busy streets. So there was that. Then we went to Cielo Lindo. Yeah. It's inside, sorry if I mispronounced it right. It's inside Tomo Magazines. You get a punch card. I rated the latte average. I just got an iced vanilla. There's not a lot of places to sit because it is a magazine store. So there's like, I think 3 places to sit. The service was all right. The perk of it is that you're inside a really cool magazine store that also has a little bit of stationery. And it's in downtown Austin. And I'd go again. So far, I'd go again to all the ones I've currently listed. All 4. Next is Next Door, which is in Houston Heights. I did a Starstruck, which is salted caramel, vanilla, oat, iced with oat. I put 10 out of 10. This was so good. It's also in a house. And there is decent sitting inside. And there's seating outside that is also covered. And I think there's some uncovered seating. But if you've if you're in Houston and you've been in the Heights, you know how a lot of things are just like in the old houses. So it's in that house. And yeah, the service wasn't bad. I had a good time. I'd go again, but the parking is abysmal because you're in the Heights and it doesn't have like any sort of dedicated parking. You are but simply on the streets. And I would say the same thing with Cielo Lindo. It's downtown, so obviously you know how downtown parking goes. So I went to Elk Dog in Austin and had an iced pecan crunch latte. Gross. It was not good. It's located, I want to say, off Manchac, so it's like South Austin, if you will. And it's in a little tiny house that looks like it could, like a trailer house. A tiny trailer made into looking to like a house. And it just wasn't good. It wasn't good. The tacos we got at the place next to it, delicious. But I would not go again at all. No, unfortunately. Then I went to Barolinda Cafe. Sorry again for my pronunciation. This is in Rice Village. Also, if you work for Rice or in any capacity, you do get a discount. And I simply got an iced vanilla oat milk latte. It was average, but I got a cardamom bun because it's also a bakery. Delicious. 10 out of 10. There is seating on the inside. There's seating on the outside with umbrellas. We went on like early Sunday morning, packed. Wouldn't necessarily recommend on a Sunday morning, maybe during the week. Also, it's in Rice Village, so the parking is atrocious. If you can manage to get a spot inside the garage, then you've got that, or you're gonna have to find some sort of street parking in the neighborhood / whatever, and then walk to it. But they don't have dedicated parking spots from what I remember. I went to Whisk Matcha Bar, which is kind of in like West Jew, Houston. I gave this like 2 out of 10 because we got like a Mont Blanc, which is like an orange and nutmeggy matcha. Going inside, first of all, the shopping center that it's in, the front parking lot, chaos. So you want to park in like the back parking lot just so that you can walk yourself and the cars aren't, you don't have to worry about other cars. Like, it's just really tight in the front. And so you walk to the front of the building and there's Whisk. You open it. The cafe was dead silent. It's echoey. There's barely anything on the walls. There's a decent amount of places to like sit, but it's just so quiet and so open that I wouldn't want to sit there. I wouldn't at all. And the latte, like, it comes in this really, it comes in is like a weck jar, so it's very short and wide, so it felt very fun to have in my hand, and it's very pretty what they did, but it was just so orangey, it was so acidic, it hurt my stomach, that I was like, well, that's a bummer. And I might go back, and if I could get like a vanilla matcha, but they don't offer vanilla, they only offer agave. I gave it a 2 out of 10. And the parking, as long as you park in the back, is pretty good. Last but not least, so far, in my coffee adventures, I went to Wah, which is in Montrose. It's where an old Starbucks used to be. They replaced it with Wah Coffee, and the parking lot, atrocious. If you do mobile pickup, there are 3 spots in the front that are dedicated for order pickup for them. So that's good to know, because the parking lot is trash. The parking spots are this big, and everybody drives a behemoth of a vehicle, and for why. So you have to park in the neighborhood. You go in, they had a fun menu. I had a banana bread latte, and she said it wasn't very banana-y, and I wouldn't say it was very banana-y, but it tasted like burnt liquor. And I wish I knew what made it taste like liquor to me, but it tasted like liquor, so it was disgusting. So I gave it 2 out of 10. The inside's cool. There's plenty of like seating. It's like coffee shop, and then it kind of goes into what like is a more like darker, what would give you like a library vibe, but not, because it's like darker woods and there are some books. But yeah, so it seems like a decent place to work. However, I did not like that. Maybe I'd go back to try a vanilla latte just to see if like that's good, but literally down the street is Mercantile, and I know for a fact that I enjoy Mercantiles like iced vanilla latte. But I think I would give Wah another chance. I think I might get Whisk another chance. I would not give Elk Dog another chance at all. Those are the coffee shops that I've been to so far this year. And now for the questions. First on the docket, favorite new media. So far, my favorite new book 6 months into the year is Game On. I just really enjoy the fact that these characters get to enjoy sex work and it's not like shamed upon. It's not made fun of. Like, it's real actual, like, because it is real actual work, and I enjoy watching not only the male characters partake in like sex work, but the female characters partake in sex work. I also love how openly like kink is talked about, and I love how when someone in these books, like when someone is discovering a kink, it's not shame. They don't have to have like an entire term and monologue of like, ew, I'm a horrible person because I have this kink. And it's like, no, you're just someone who has that kink. And I really like that. The last book is my favorite because I love a brat and dom dynamic. Or I guess one could say like a brat tamer and a brat. And this last book gave me a brat in a way that I haven't ever had, and I loved it. I ate it up. I ate it up. I screamed for joy when I found out what the dynamic was going to be. I was so excited. So I love Game On. I just love it. I'm hoping, I don't know what this author has next, but whatever like this is, I hope she continues with this vibe, because I just really enjoyed it. I just really enjoyed it. Movie. Oh, I really loved The Devil Wears Prada. I'm not gonna lie. I really did. I got teary-eyed. I nearly cried. I just felt it like warmed my heart. It warmed my heart. And then nothing for TV. There's nothing currently that is like my new favorite that has carried into 2026 so far. Favorite revisit for books is unfortunately God of Fury. I don't know what it is. There's just something about that book that when I'm in a slump and I don't really want to read anything, I just read that and it just gets me through it all. I really wish it was another book, but this unfortunately is what we have. For movie is Divergent. I found myself really putting that in when I just want to watch something or do something or fill it with noise. So much so that I collected the other two. Why? It still kind of makes me mad that that whole series is not finished. And TV, right now, I love to rewatch Heated Rivalry. Yeah, that's right. I'm still brain rotted away. Still do love a reheat, as they say. Favorite genre for books? I'm really loving romance. I've been in a romance kick for, I think at this point, nearly 2 years, which is shocking. And yeah, I think I'm slowly going back into like fantasy because I have recently read like The Last Contract of Isako and then The Second Death of Locke. So I'm moving ever so slowly, I think, into not only like just romance, but now allowing other books back in to the reading order. And movie, anything that kind of catches my eye. I'm really in a movie kick as of recently. So anything that I'm like, fascinating, or I wonder what that would be like, I just go ahead and buy the ticket or borrow it from the library, honestly, if it's a backlist movie. Or is that what you would call a movie that's older, backlist? Or is that only for books? TV, I find that the only TV I'm really am watching, I guess 2012 media and or a little bit of romance. So the old TV, because I've thought about borrowing Lost from the library because I've been watching Mike's deep dive of Lost. And I was there when Lost came out. I watched the first season and got pissed off as a teenager. And then I watched the second season and I was like, you know what this bitch does? Y'all don't answer no questions, but then you give me 17,000 questions. And so sometimes I think about it. I think about, well, I could get it from the library. But also I'm like, girl, you're supposed to be in the middle of Scandal. How about we finish Scandal? But I'm like, I only have 3 seasons of Scandal. Or new release media that I want to get to that I haven't. A book, because I think every movie that I've currently wanted to see, I've seen. And any TV series that I've been interested in, I've already watched. For the book, it's the Tapestry of Fate, because I started this, but I do really want to get back to it. I think I'm only like 100 pages in, 200 pages in. So I think I'm like halfway through. And I don't know if that counts as like haven't gotten to, because I haven't finished it yet, but I'm interested. I'm intrigued. I was going to say this like F1, but I think that's a backlist book that I didn't know released at the end of last year. My most anticipated media. For book, it's Victorious, because I really like V.E. Schwab's writing. I need her to start, where's the second book in The Threads of Fate? Is it The Threads of Fate? I don't know. The second arc of A Darker Shade of Magic. However, she does take a long time to write books, and you know what? Live your best life. Movie-wise, my biggest anticipation is The Hunger Games. I genuinely just wish that this upcoming Hunger Games movie and the last one, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, could be filmed with the same grittiness as the original trilogy. I feel like that way, those cameras were the best in movie production, in my personal opinion, and for like user experience, because it feels gritty, it feels real, it feels like a movie. And the new ones, it all feels too buffed and smooth that it feels like it should be like animation, and yet it's not animation, it's supposed to be real life. And I just hate that they're all prequels, and yet they look so much more futuristic and technologically advanced than the original trilogy. But alas, for the rest of this year, I don't have anything TV-wise that I think I'm interested in. Of course, I'm waiting for Heated Rivalry Season 2, but that won't be for another year at this point, which is fine. Biggest disappointment. For book, this has to be The Open Era, because I knew about this tennis romance and I was looking forward to it. And I got denied the arc of it. So, which, well, maybe I shouldn't have, because maybe it wouldn't have, it has such high ratings, dude, and it's so bad. Movie, this is Project Hail Mary. I was disappointed. I didn't have high expectations, but the ending really just gutted me in a way I wasn't expecting to really be upset. We're not even gonna get into it, actually. It was just the biggest disappointment going into it. / Pillyon. So Hail Mary and Pillyon, because Pillyon, I think I had a lot of expectations and it just didn't go anywhere. I was like, oh, this is what we're doing? This is the decision we made? Banana beans. And then I don't have anything TV-wise. Biggest surprise. Book-wise, when I think of you, because it's a second chance romance, and I thought I hated second chance romances. And then I read it and I said, oh, this is a fun time. This is yummy. The author did a really good job in not forgetting the present in favor of the past. Movie, biggest surprise, dude, was I Love Boosters. Like I said, I had no idea. I thought I was going in for just a casual, like, you stole my fashion idea, I'm gonna make like a fashion show or like rogue fashion. I was not expecting for it to be the film that it was. Nor was I expecting to, I was like, what is this? But I loved it. Biggest surprise, I left that theater and I said, well, my roommate, I said, what was that? And then we talked about it all day. And then we went over to our friends and we talked to our friends about it. It was so good. It was so fun. It was so weird. It was so colorful. It was so silly at points. It was fun. TV-wise too, off campus. Because I genuinely was like, all right, this is going to be a cheese fest. But I want to see what the girlies are talking about. And it was a cheese fest. But in a way that I could tolerate. That I was like, oh, whoa. Not me staying up till 2 a.m. That's banana beans. Media that made me cry. For a book, the most recent book that made me cry was A Someday Garden. It's an entire book about grief with a subplot of romance. And I just wasn't expecting that from the synopsis on the back of the book. That's for sure. Movie, Remarkable Creatures, cried. Cried. I wasn't expecting to be moved by the narration of an octopus. But I was. And then TV-wise, nothing has really made me cry. Something that made me happy / enjoyed. I really enjoyed the last contract of Isako. Like Fonda Lee's writing. And I enjoyed being in this book. I think it took me a minute to get into it, but then once I did, I was invested. I was like, oh, what's going on? And a plot twist got me. It really did, but I don't know how it could have gotten me, because in reality, if it's a standalone, this is the only way it could have gone. Which I say that this could have been a duology, and I think it should have been a duology. But I'm not an author, what do I know? For a movie that I enjoyed, so it's made me happy, it's really just Forbidden Fruit. That was a fun time. I Love Boosters and Devil Wears Prada. I had a great time at all 3 of those films. And then TV, I did enjoy the off-campus series. And last but not least, end of year media must read before the end of the year, or want to enjoy, or whatever. I put, for books, I want the I'll Believe Anything, the scripts, the annotated scripts for Heated Rivalry, of course. I will grab that up in October. For a movie, I am interested in watching this before the end of the year, of Only One Night, that silly movie that's supposed to be about how singles can't have sex except for one night a year. As well as Dune 3. Yes. I will be paying to see Dune 3 in the theaters. Yeah, so there's no TV that I feel like I must watch before the end of the year. That is the last question that leads me to the end of this video of my mid-year updates. I hope you enjoyed. If you didn't, we'll live your best life, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye!